For those of you who are not here, we just took an incredible tour of the grounds of the ashram setting with so many beautiful statues and so many places of quietude, and then ultimately Rudy's Shrine, which is a holy space. And the whole experience was really, really lovely. So I would encourage you somewhere, those of you who are on Zoom, that down the road this is done again, that if you want to make a trip here, there's an extraordinary um, joy in being on on these grounds. So we're going to sit again. Uh, not all of you sit twice a day. Some of you maybe don't even sit once a day. Um, and sitting, 4 times in 2 days is more in the realm of work than it is just in a way meditation. It's it's effortful, but it's not like climbing the Eiffel Tower. It's just sitting back down, finding your way back to yourself, opening the door again. It may just open as knock and it shall enter. It shall be opened, and could be that simple. If it's not, if it's really more demanding than that, then feel like you need to do the work. Do the work. Not a big deal. The idea is to find ourselves in a space of welcoming that is in some ways a reason for being in the world, period. A welcoming that comes out of this class, that comes out of really being alive, but for most people being in this world, there is a welcoming that is core to the human experience. And ideally, everyone feels welcomed. In truth, many people never experience welcoming. So open the door to your own self, and it will say thank you. It will be there for you. I was told to talk about something that I have no script for at all. I have no idea what to say about it all, but it feels really important. It's partly reflecting the times we're living in, possibly the future, but more importantly, the immediacy of this moment. Try to imagine that you have lost your cell phone and it is nowhere to be found. Try to imagine when you go to find the backup on your computer, it's not there. The computer is wiped out. And here you are. Now, if I can give you enough time to imagine what that would really be like, we could spend the rest of the hour because it's so unimaginable that we would lose our cell phones and lose our phone numbers and our photographs and our calendars and our uh, whatever access points you have to the world, just suddenly not there. And the scramble that would create in your brain, in your mind, in your heart, in your emotions, in every aspect of your life. Of course, the immediacy of it would be you'll find a backup, you'll find something, you'll go somewhere, you'll do something to reconstruct it. But um, but even if you had a place to go, the inconvenience of it, the despair of not having access to your external mind, really, is an amazing metaphor, if not an actual potential fact of human existence. Because as I'm watching life unfold, personally and in general, I'm seeing people lose their cell phones. And it's an amazing thing to watch and to experience, because you don't know how reliant you are on the known, on the predictable, on the certain parts of your life. So if you're living a quote unquote spiritual life and you think you have your act together and you can find your way through the miasma of human existence and you've got it worked out, great. But then cell phone is gone. I don't know how good your imaginations are, but I would venture to say that there would be a sense of loss and confusion and fear and drama and why me. It goes on in terms of the dynamic of it. But what do you do when everything you rely on, which could be also like your mind, goes away? I ask you to think about it because if you can take it beyond thought and into, oh my God, what do I do? You know, I mean, I have just in recent times left my phone in various places and then not remembered what those places were. And I watched this wonderful, mature spiritual being collapse. Like, oh my God, not, I mean, I really, the mind is trying to reconstruct where have I been? Where would I put it? What would I have done? But the bigger lesson for me is, boy, oh boy, you are so dependent on this outer thing that has control over your existence more than you realize, more than you want to know. And where does your spiritual core come in as all that starts to fall away or disappear? And I ask you that because it, in a strange way, reflects a process that we are all, if we're lucky, going to go through, which is getting old and looking at the mind, which starts like your phone to disappear in place. Where is it? Where did I put that thing? Where is that? And you don't know where to look. And losing your phone is an indicator of a future event that will be something you may need to think about. And at certain times, there is nowhere to go. There is nowhere to find comfort in the outer form. You can start yelling at people and say, "Did you find my phone? Did you see it anywhere?" You can go through that whole thing. But the core element really is that you may not ever find it again. And who are you without your contact list, without the dynamic of all the photographs from 20 years ago or however long ago? Who are you without that thing? That's kind of what we're here looking at. Who are we without it? Because I will tell you, and you may not want to know this, but you don't leave this world with your cell phone. It will not be in your casket, even if they put it in the thing that burns your body to a crisp. It will go with it, and at some point, you really are going to have to face that. And in many ways, that is the core of spiritual search and the spiritual journey. And it has everything to do with the Buddhist idea of impermanence. Everything, everything, including your cell phone, can fall away. And if it does fall away, are you ready? Are you ready for the inevitable, whatever that may be in your life? And my guess is no. And I'm telling you that because I look at me, not looking at you, although I can see a reflection. And I will tell you the loss of everything that informs your life is very, very painful. It's very scary. You have to rethink another way of being And in truth, in terms of a phone, there really was a period about 20 some years ago where you didn't have one, where you operated just fine. You had a yellow pages, a phone book, a phone that you used in the hallway and shared with your parents and your brothers and sisters. If you shared, hey, get off the phone. We all had that at one point in our lives. Um, but you did have a day-to-day existence that was calm, smooth, joyful, sweet, and it operated very differently. But we have found ourselves caught up in a world that is full of an attachment to having everything available immediately for you in the way that you want, that you feel a certain unbelievable security. And it's the false security that one has being in a body. I have a body. I'm growing. I'm becoming this person. I'm doing all this stuff. I have a job. I have a partner. I have children. I have all this stuff. And it has this unbelievable feeling of absolute permanence. This is not going anywhere. And then it's gone. It is absolutely gone. And it's going to happen to you. So I'm just trying to give you a metaphor in a way for what's coming, but it's not a metaphor for reality. Reality is at some point what's the word? Quickly, unexpectedly, slowly, dramatically, it goes away. I don't know about you guys, but my cell phone is acting crazy these days. I don't know why it's acting crazy. Getting on to Zoom today was crazy. And that's my computer, but the cell phone is thinking now it's part of Zoom. I don't know why it's thinking it's part of Zoom, and I never made it part of Zoom, but it thinks it is. And the world is becoming more and more complicated, and I am trying to go, okay, and thank God I have Arkady and I have Zach and I have friends and people who know how to do these things, but I don't. So what I have to rely on, one is friends, but two, it's your cell phone is not the center of your life. It is not the center of your life. And if you start to imagine what it would be like to really lose it, you will start to experience some of what it's like to lose your memory, to lose the life you've been living up until this point, to see that everything is starting to go a little bit haywire, it's not working, and you have an idea that the battery life is short, and there's nobody selling batteries, whatever it is, something is really going on. And it's really strange, and it's instinctively, it speaks to you, and it tells you about the truth of your life. I had an experience the other day where Blanche put food on the counter in the kitchen. And I said, don't put food on the counter in the kitchen. The cat will get it. And she looked at me, and then I looked at me, and I went, we don't have a cat. Well, what am I talking about? What are we talking about? Thinking. I had no idea. And, that was really, really meaningful to me. I had an experience, Blanche, forgive me because I know I use you badly in this regard, but we went away for the weekend with my grandchildren and my son, and we were putting things away in the bathroom, and suddenly Blanche thinks all of my pills are her pills, and all of her pills are my pills. And I'm going, well, that is really dangerous. If you start taking my pills, we're going to be in real trouble here. But I didn't just say that. I went, life was just falling apart. This was dangerous. This was like life altering. And I started to experience rage, like real rage. And I don't usually know rage that I know of. But there it was. And it wasn't the kind of rage that was going to strike out because that made no sense at all. But what are you doing? This could kill you. These are my pills and those are your pills. And they go here and not there. And it was that kind of thing. And Josh was in the next room hearing all this stuff. And I had to go out there, and it wasn't even, I wasn't yelling even, but it was like the energy of rage was shocking to me and really meaningful. And you may also feel a little bit of that when you lose your cell phone, just so you know. The next day, I'm driving on the day or two later, I'm driving on a highway, and a semi truck, a huge semi truck, is 10 feet behind me. And he's staying 10 feet behind me. I'm going, you can't stay 10 feet behind me. So I'm flashing my brakes lights to tell him not to do that. And he just stays right there. And I'm getting more and more just furious by it all. And at some point, we came to a place where they were having traffic go the other way, and there's someone stopping the traffic. And they held up their hand, and I stopped my car, and I jumped out of my car, and I went over to the truck driver, and I just yelled. I yelled with such anger and fury about, what are you doing? You can't, what's wrong with you? Just all that kind of stuff. And I will tell you, it was really interesting. When I got back in my car, the guy who was holding up the traffic and holding up his hand said, that was absolutely the right thing to do. You were right about him following you. And and it was strangely relieving. But I'll tell you what was important. I had to see my rage. I had to see it. And also in a way that it had righteous aspect, that it was not outside of the purview of higher power trying to give love and joy and beauty and kindness in every direction. There are times it felt to me where rage was important. And it was a lesson to me. And I didn't carry it with me during the rest of the day. I just saw it as an expression, and it was gone. I say all this because we're not all yet exploring the full territory of our existence. We have a certain kind of contained, this is who I am, this is how I am, this is what life is. And we live within a certain place of knowing and comfort. But to test that, it can be somebody tailing you with a car, but it can also be losing your phone. And it's so funny because my mind keeps saying, don't forget your phone, don't forget your phone. And this is humanity. This is humanity. This is how we live, guys. We are all caught up in stuff we don't know about and that we are going to witness. If you lose your phone, if you lose your memory, if your partner loses their memory, if you start to see life falling apart in various ways, and chances are you will at some point, there is a core, unexpected thing that takes place, and I will reference it now, which is the person that I've been working to find, the being that I've been looking to find over the course of 50, 60 years of meditating and doing this work, is watching this from its still point. It's just watching. It is watching me lose my memory. It is watching me lose people around me, and it's watching me lose my phone, and it's gone. It's not nervous. It's not excited. It's not anxious. It's not hysterical. It's very quiet. It's going, yep. Journey of finding yourself means in some way that you will get to observe in some quiet, probably peaceful state the loss of everything you know. And it will not be reactive. It will, I mean, on the journey there, you may feel grief and sadness and loss and horror and terror and all the other stuff, but it's just watching. But not only is it watching, it is watching with profound tenderness. It cares. It's not worried or anything. It's just, yeah. It's like your mother watching you fall when you're making your early first steps. You know, she goes, gonna have to figure that one out. You know, not there crying and saying, what do you do? Why do you fall? What's wrong with you? Just watching all that happen. And it's with love. And the feeling you have, if you have worked hard enough and deep enough in your life, is there is the witness, the knower, the creator, the radiance, the essence of you knowing what's going on and going, it's okay. It's okay. It's very quiet. It's very absolving. It's very loving. It's non-critical. It's just there. And I've had enough experience in my meditative life and in my day-to-day life that I trust its presence when it needs to be there. Now, I have also talked about, and I will reference it again, the idea of it not being there. It's called absence, the opposite of presence. And when absence happens, and you need to know this, stuff happens. It's a whole other way of learning. I think absence is what brought me into rage with Blanche and the pills. It wasn't there going, cool, cool, it's going to be okay. It just wasn't there. And I got to see parts of who I was and am because of the absence. And I know this is really, it's the hardest part of the spiritual journey. It's the best teacher. Presence is wonderful and it feels good and it's comforting and it's embracing. Absence is nothing's there. Nothing's there. And when nothing's there, you have to be there. You have to be there. And when that starts to happen, you discover who you are. It's really essential. Absence will give you as much in terms of instruction and wisdom and knowledge as presence. Having the creator there all the time, you all heard my story. It's an important story, so I'll repeat it for those who haven't heard it. When I was debating whether I should go to my niece's daughter's bat mitzvah in California, and I'm the oldest one in the family, and I thought I really should go, and everybody wanted me to go, but I did not want to go. I did not want to get on the airplane. I did not want to fly that far. I had back problems. I had all these reasons not to go, but it felt like maybe it's the wrong thing and I should go. And so I said, guys upstairs, what do I do? Do I go? Do I show up as the elder in the family? Do I do the right thing and get on a plane and go try driving in LA traffic and all of that stuff? Or do I not go? And I was waiting to hear an answer. And the answer was, and forgive me, those of you who know it, not our problem. And I'm telling you, it really helps put things in perspective. Because if you think the universe cares about 90% of your problems and decisions, you're wrong. It does not. They're your problems and your decisions, and figure it out. But if you have spent some time on this journey going into this inner space of being and feeling the presence and acknowledging without fear the absence as part of the whole, you will be able to witness the dissolution of your mind, your body, and losing your phone in that order. The phone thing is the teaching for now. Think of it, use it as a thing. Because when you lose your phone, you're going to see a part of yourself, even in your deepest spiritual contentment, that is no longer deep spiritual or content. It's going to be miserable and it will be that. And learning that about yourself is as important as learning that you are a deep, revered soul who people love and that you can love as well, and that you are worth it. You are truly worth it. And that in the deepest core of that has nothing to do with you even. It just is. And that isness is like life itself. It's extraordinary. So put things in perspective. If you do lose your phone, remember this talk. I don't know if it will help you on any level whatsoever or not, but try to find the center. Try to know you will lose everything at some point. Try to know you will do that with grace and gentility, or with anger and hostility and rage. Try to work that through now if you can. Try to find your way into core acceptance, openness, and love, and see how that guides you in your life. It's a tricky journey, but it's worth it. And the reason you're here today, the reason you're listening today, is to be reminded that there's another approach to life other than just anger and annoyance and disturbance. It's called quietude, gratitude, being yourself in the moment and going, thank you. Okay, Tony?
I actually misheard your first suggestion of imagine losing your cell phone, your phone. I heard it as imagine losing your soul. And I do think, I'm reflecting on that, I'm thinking one of the biggest fears I have, and I've touched it at moments, it hasn't been comfortable to say the very least, of the fear of losing one's soul.
That's a great point, and I'm glad. I mean, it makes sense that you would have that experience, because I know you for decades. But it's a really good misunderstanding.
Can you repeat?
Tony felt.
I misunderstood the question initially. Imagine losing your phone. I half deaf that I am, and probably should have hearing aids, but that's a whole other discussion. I heard it as imagine losing your soul.
I'm not sure if you guys are hearing this, but the thing is, instead of losing your phone, Tony heard losing your soul as the core element of this conversation, and it actually is a brilliant concern because it's not unsimilar or dissimilar.
I heard it just a little bit different, Tony. I heard imagine losing yourself.
Me
Oh.
too.
Which is very similar.
Yeah,
Very
well,
similar.
okay, that's okay. So I am totally to blame on some level, but every one of those questions is at the core of the same issue. Imagine losing the soul is here's the problem with losing your soul. One thinks the soul is separate from you, that there's a duality. So to lose your soul means that what's left is this ego-minded centered thing that's lost.
No.
At
least in my imagination.
Okay, that's another version. Losing the soul, losing the mind, losing the self is all bound up into the same configuration of fear. But the question, of course, is who is fearing that? And the part of you that's fearing that is a biological construct that is going to disintegrate and lose something. But the fear is based on having it. And the having it is a person and a biological body and a being that is going to lose it. That's the core of loss of impermanence, really. We will lose having a soul because what we're really going to lose is a body that has anything and a mind that has anything. That goes away. It really does go away. And losing your soul with that is absolutely logical if you're going to lose your body and if your soul is only your body and your mind.
Part of it for me is the fear of damnation, actually.
Okay, well, that's okay. This is a whole other, Tony's other fear is the fear of damnation if you lose your soul. Let me talk about that briefly because that's a whole other class. But it's not an unreasonable fear. It's not an unreasonable fear that everything that we are experiencing spiritually is a false construct. Mm-hmm. It's made up by our body, mind, self, and that it is there, one, to tempt you into peace and joy and relaxation and thinking you're a good person and a good life and all that. And then when all that starts to go away, to realize it was a trick. It was like a trick that you are losing everything because you are a evil, dark soul. And I have been there as well. I've had those feelings. And, all I can tell you is you have to dialogue with that. You have to ride that ride. Everybody does. And you'll get the answers that you get. From what I'm told and from what I have experienced, and I wrote about this in my movie, Jacob's Ladder. Supposedly, this is not Jacob's Ladder, but supposedly even Christ went to hell for 4 days. Now, I don't know where that comes from, but he visited hell on his way into liberation. That hell is one of the first things that comes in the moment of death, of self-condemnation. And my LSD trip, which was a journey into death, started with a huge long staircase. I mean, just huge, brilliantly lit, strange, dark neon elements. And then these people were helping me down it. And then I looked and they weren't people, they were demons. And they're walking me down and I'm going, where am I going? Where am I going? They said, you know where you're going. And then I looked straight down ahead of me, and right over this doorway I was about to pass through in neon lights was HELL. So there was no question of where I was headed. And I was brought into a realm in which all of my self-loving, hating, drama, glory, attachment was being ripped apart. That was being taken apart. I was being disassembled, and it was the most hellish thing that one can imagine. And it is at the core of attachment. The things you don't let go of are not just necessarily gently taken away. Often they are ripped apart, burned out, and they feel like actual limbs of your body being ripped off. I will tell you, Tony's going, yes, yes, yes. I will tell you, it was the beginning of a journey that was horrific on every level, but ended up, once I was disassembled and torn apart, in a state of, I'm not going to say it was joy and beauty, but it was a stillness beyond understanding. It was, it took a long time. And I'm talking in my own brain, I thought like 4 billion years, 3 billion years. I don't know what it was to get to that place. And the whole journey lasted in a timeless way. But letting go of the you is what we are here learning how to do. And if you can learn to let go day by day, by day by day, you will begin to discover the parts of you you can't let go of. And the way I was trying to make this conversation meaningful is by saying, okay, you're this wonderful spiritual being and everything is fine. And you finally let go of everything you can think of. And then you lost your cell phone. And all the stuff that you thought you were free of, you are in misery, in total misery. And that's a signal, really, about how much we have yet to learn, to how much we need to free ourselves from in this lifetime to find peace at the end of the journey. And I don't know that anybody fully does. And I am learning now through my own demise, if you will, pre-demise, that pain is a new partner in my journey. And I go, I kind of like, why me, God? And they go, well, why not you? And this kind of thing that keeps happening. And what I'm finding in this experience is it's not easy. This is not an easy trajectory into the absolute. But we're not alone in it. We're not the first beings to go through it. And it has what appears to be, I'll use the word, but I can't give you an explanation for it, purpose. We have to let go of the world, and it's hard and it hurts. On the other hand, and I may be wrong, and you can go, find other teachers or just sign off from Bruce if you want, or Rudy or anybody. There is something else going on here. There is something else going on here. And the soul and the self that you're afraid of losing cannot be lost. And at some point, that becomes clear. And at some point, I think, forgive me if I'm wrong, but it's my intuition and it's also experiential, guys. There's something in there. I describe it often as my mother hugging me when I'm 2 years old. Whatever that is, I think that is what remains after the drama and all the stuff of what we've gone through. Why we have bodies, why we're brought into this world, why we're made to go through this extraordinary, the bizarre, beautiful, terrifying space. I mean, I have the feeling that it's because it wants to know itself. It wants to witness itself. It wants to be itself, and it wants to expand into its truth, into its unfolding as a reality. And we are that. We are the thing that's unfolding as it. And we think that we're different and separate, but we are not different and separate. We are it. And at some point, the soul realizes that. And that realization, which is a word that's very big in spirituality, realization, awakening, That realization is, I am that. I am that whole thing. I'm the totality. I am love and hatred, joy and misery. I am the whole thing. And the quietude that gets into the core of the being that sees that and witnesses that is a state of its own. And that state, if I'm right, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but if I'm right, it is beautiful beyond belief. Beyond belief. And I have, as far as I know, been given access to that space. When I sit here and work with you in class, you think it's Bruce? I would much rather be up at the house sleeping and napping. I have no energy for this at all. But it happens. And you know what it does? I'm telling you this is really important. It loves you. It loves you. I cannot even begin to describe what that means. I don't understand it. I, in most cases, don't even know you really. I mean, I know you, but I don't know you. But I sit and work with you, and I say I, and you think I'm saying Bruce, but I work with you, and this thing, it touches you, and it loves you, and it's doing everything in its power to help you feel that. And at some point, if this thing works, you will feel a kind of love that is like nothing you've ever known before, or maybe it's something you knew when your mother picked you up out of the crib. But it's beautiful, and there we are. So, Tony, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you're
Okay, okay. And anybody dare ask another question? Bob.
Of recent, what's been happening if I have that thought, oh, I've lost my phone, there's this bing, and it's like that switches gears. And oh, there's an app for that. On the Apple, there's an app called Find My Phone. Now, I mean, that sounds silly, but it's like, it's not about that there's the app, but there's this bing.
Okay, I love that you say that, and I know that that's true. And if you have a Bing like that, which I don't, then I go, what do I do? Oh my God, well, I mean, I don't go Bing, but then I get into, and I'm not going to do it now because maybe tomorrow a little bit. In the AI universe, it's possible that your app won't work, that the AI won't find your phone, it won't even appear on your screen, and even your computer won't come on.
This is not, when I'm trying to get across, it's not about, well, there's an app or that I can buy a new phone. It's that there's something that stepped in that flipped it.
It comforted you. And that, I'm going to say yes, because I know you, and I know you have that in yourself. You have that app in your brain. And I wish everybody did. Oh my God, it's going to be okay. I got it. We can do it. That's the place we would all like to get to. You know, I lose my phone and it's panic. So I have my work to do. You have different work to do. But I in your brain.
Today, well, it was really, really profound. And thank you all for being here. It's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, no, yeah.
One thing I just wanted to share, if that's okay, because you used to, in classes in LA, yell with rage if anyone pointed their feet. Are you in India? If you point your feet at a teacher, you'll be removed from the it's the energy of the feet. No one's ever supposed to point their feet at a teacher. You taught me that.
I taught you that?
You taught me that.
Well, I may have learned that, but I don't care if you point your feet at me.
But I have been to.
Okay. Yeah, there are places where they will.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought I would just share that because it's just most people don't know that.
I think a lot of teachers are very identified with being teachers. One of the crazy interesting things about my own personal journey is they are removing every identity from my head, including teacher. I really, when they said today, talk about losing your cell phone, I went, what? What? How do I talk about losing your cell phone, or where do I go with that? And then they did the talk. I have nothing, and Bruce anyway, has nothing to do with it, but I listened to it as it was happening, and I'm going, yeah, right. Interesting. Yeah, it was good. It was good. In its own way, it was good, but it was as good for me as it was for you. And I have almost zilch to do with it. And if you point your feet at me, what do I care? I mean, I think the danger of becoming a teacher is thinking you're a teacher. It gets in the way. Yes, Wendy.
Today, I literally took everything not to keep my eyes open, and that's, never really had that happen before. Like,
A lot of people had to struggle with that today. Just so you know,
Okay, I mean,
you would not be alone. I was teaching a lot of people with closed eyes. Not a lot, but some.
gotta be held in the chair, not constrained, but also not like, immovable, and like just the strongest closeness.
The energy will do that.
I could feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just, because I've never felt that before, and I think at one point you were looking at, I just felt the shot up, and then I think you were looking at me, and I just really felt like shot up, and I see other people move, but it still just felt different today. Just anything besides that, other people.
The weight of this place is heavy with weight, and it makes the work harder. And there's a lot of people here bringing their stuff to the table, and it's in the atmosphere. Working through that is hard. And like I said, I would rather have been napping than not. And I saw people who were, and I kept going, oh, wish I was doing that. But the reality is, work is work. And if you can power through it, it's great. Do I forgive people for napping? Of course. I mean, look, this is a lifelong ride. This space, and you come here, to repeat Rudy from millionth time, the class he taught in New York with all these students who drove all the way from Texas to be there, and they all came to class, and I think to a person fell asleep in the class. And then they were all so ashamed that they fell asleep. And Rudy said to them, and this is really important, he said, the class was the drive here. It's really important. And in terms of pilgrimages, it's getting there. The walk around the mosque is whatever, one thing, and the walk around the Rudy Shrine is one thing, but the drive here and the commitment to do it, or the airplane and the drive, and there's a statement being made in that. And I think, I more than think, in a way I know, they care about that. They go, this person's serious, they're on board, we can use them to spread the light. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, that's for that.
You-
I live at the bottom of the hill. And I could not get here. And I've been waiting for this since your email came out. It's like, Bruce is coming to dig in, thank goodness, I don't have to go to Redmond. I can just go across the street. And I couldn't make it. Things get in the way.
Yes,
And
life.
And you have to work to get.
I think stop judging yourselves as best you can. We're all trying. Showing up here is a big thing all by itself. Every one of you is saying yes to something greater, which is a big deal in life because it's not common. And it's witnessed. It's witnessed and it's felt, and it informs your being, and it will evolve your being as you go forward. I think this is going on and on, guys. Can we stop? Okay. Thank those of you who are still online. Thanks to all of you who came. We will do one more day of this tomorrow. I sense we'll see it's going to get a little more serious. But I really have nothing but gratitude for the time and effort that you've put in. And if you're not here tomorrow, it'll be online. So thank you so much. Love to everybody.